Hello everybody, welcome back to my channel. My name is Gustav and I'm just super excited to have you back on my channel today. That being said though, today we're gonna look at another streamer, and this streamer in particular, I really like him, alright? Now the streamer that we're gonna be talking about today, you probably already read it in the description, that's why you clicked on this video, is gonna be JoeWo. But yeah, for a long time I've already been sort of a little bit suspicious about how he's playing and whatnot, but regardless if he's using or if he's not using a third-party software, I really love his style. I think he has probably the best movement in Warzone. That's something you cannot cheat yourself through. That is just pure skill, pure learning. But enough of the ass kissing, enough of the praise. Let's get into the goodies of this video. Let's get into why I believe that he is not a legit player. Now, before I show you the clips and I give you my reasoning for why I believe that he's not legit, I think it's important that I sort of highlight what we're looking out for. Many people still up to this date, when they hear cheating or hacking, they are thinking of a rage hacker. Now, a perfect example of a rage hacker would be this guy right here. I have no idea who he is, but just by how he plays, he just puts headshots out, as you can see here on the side, right? That was one headshot. Next headshot, like that is just rage hacking. Like this is blatant, obvious hacking. Like you can see, he just locks onto heads. Like, you can't even see the enemies that he's hitting. Like, he's shooting through walls. It is absolutely ridiculous, right? Anyways, people most of the time will think of a sort of really rage hackers, people that are just like super obviously hacking and have just like the max settings. Now, the streamers, the big streamers like Z-Laners, Huskers, JoeWo, they have very, very refined settings. And so I will just show you a couple of settings, okay, how they look, how you can tweak them, just so you know what I'm talking about during and throughout this video. So the most important things about cheats, regardless of how they look, like they're like 100 different cheats, they all look a little bit different, but they all act the same way, all right? So the first, most important thing that people have to know is gonna be the field of view. This is this white circle that you can see right here, all right? That is probably the most important thing concerning aimbot, and it is the thing that will make aimbot look the most natural or the most obvious. The reason I'm saying that is because this field of view that you have right here, you can extend it, you can make it bigger, or you can have it small. This one right here is a pretty small field of view. What does field of view means? That means that if you point your gun at an enemy and he is in this white circle, it will lock onto wherever you've set it. You can have different aim settings, right? Like you can have different aim locks. It can be head, it can be chest, it can be upper torso, it can be neck. You can choose where you want your gun to lock onto. So if an enemy crosses this white circle, it's gonna drag the gun towards the aim that you have selected, right? If you have selected head, if he would pass through, this one would lock right onto his head. But before he does not enter this white circle, the gun is just gonna stay exactly the way it is, so it's not gonna move, all right? Now, probably you're following what I'm trying to tell you. What I'm trying to say is, the bigger the field of view, the more you're gonna lock on randomly on the map, right? If the field of view would be the entire screen, you would just lock on left and right. But if it's this small, you're not gonna really lock on, except if you're already aiming and you're already on the enemy, all right? If the circle is gonna be like this big, then it's gonna faster move to this side and gonna lock onto this enemy. Just sort of for reference, here is sort of how it looks like, and here you can see it. For example, aim field of view is 25. 25 is pretty small, all right? It's probably exactly how big, that's the field of view circle that we just saw, right? Very small. It's gonna look very natural if you have this setting. Now, if you would have it on 45, 50, or 100, 100 is gonna be half the screen. It's not gonna be the full screen, but half the screen. You're gonna be locking on left and right. Then the next thing is aim speed. The aim speed means, you remember this white circle? Once somebody runs in, it's how long it takes for, when he touches that circle, for him to be exactly perfectly in the center of the aim. You can sort of imagine as like 15 miles per hour or 15 kilometers per hour. So if he enters, it's gonna be 15 kilometers per hour, so it will take maybe like a second for him then to be exactly in the middle of your aim, exactly in the middle of the circle, for your gun to move right there. If it's 45, imagine if it's like 45 miles per hour, it's gonna take half a second for your aim, for him from being from the outside of the circle to being exactly dead center in the circle of your field of view. The next thing would be aim key. Aim key can be, or most of the time, it's going to be 1 or 2 on your mouse. So it's going to be the left or the right side of your mouse. So right now, 2 would be if you aim, it's going to lock onto someone if he's in your field of view circle. Now, if you would put 1, it means that even if your gun is right above an enemy, it's not going to lock on. So you can just lock on once you already start shooting. This would not be good for snipers, but for assault rifles, it's going to make it look more natural. So most of the bigger streamers like ZLane or JoeWo, I would assume are going to probably have aim key 1 because it just sort of corrects your aims once you already have started shooting. And it's not just going to lock on with your aim. I will play right now here in the background a little bit of example footage how wall hacks will look. You can see that he is aimbot on once he starts shooting. I want you to pay attention of where he looks. Do you see how he looks at a container? You know where he is, right? He's in there, but on streams, you're not going to be able to see these outlines, these skeletons. Now see, he has aim lock on center of the chest, so it's not going to be headshots. And this is also something that I want people to realize. Most people are not going to have aimbot locked on head because it looks too obvious. You can see from down and from the things here, it's really bad quality. You're not going to be able to see it that well, but he pretty much has it on the chest. You can see this was not a headshot. And just see how he moves, right? And this is what I will also be focusing on some streamers, how they moved, how they just know that there are some people, right? Like, for example, he's just looking straight. He's not actually moving or really tracking them through walls. Another thing that you can see is if they're yellow, they're not visible, so you can't be shooting them. But once they turn blue, I assume, or red in this case, yeah, red, my bad, they are in direct sight and you can start shooting them. It's going to look a little bit more natural if you don't track them through and you can just wait for them to be sort of in your aim. And like this, you also don't shoot into walls. So this is just something to really look out for. You can see how natural it looks. If you would take the wall hacks away, on many of these guys, you would not even assume that they're using hacks. You can see that, especially if the aim speed is very low, it just sort of moves them. It just moves sort of their sight a little bit to the side. Did you see how many bullets he missed right there? And people say if they miss bullets or streamers miss bullets, they don't have it on, or look, he missed bullets. That means he does not have it on. Did you see how he just killed this guy? I will come a little bit back to this one right here. Focus on this guy. See, the aim sort of still went sort of everywhere, although you probably, or we can assume that he has it locked on chest since it always sort of starts moving upward. Look how he killed this guy, right? He needed a couple of shots. He missed a couple of shots, but it's very sticky aim. This is what many people call sticky aim, and people say, sticky aim, that's bullshit, that's skill. And of course, with especially professional players or very skilled players like JoeWo, ZLaner, it's very hard to distinguish many times if it's aim bot, aim assist a little bit, or really skill. So yeah, enough about that. I think you get a little bit the gist of what I'm trying to tell you. Not every cheater, every hacker is going to have these very obvious hacks on. Now, the first gameplay that I would sort of like to examine is one that he posted recently, which is I played Warzone on console stream highlights, all right? That means he had a full stream. I don't know how long the stream was, but even in this gameplay on YouTube here, you can see that he had like 4 or 5 couple of games in. Also, I just realized JoeWo only has 140,000 subscribers on YouTube. I really don't get that, especially comparing to ZLaner. Let's check that. All right, he has 216,000. Okay, it's also not that much. Nick Merckx has 4 million. Okay, wow. Now, after 100 detours explaining how hacking and shit works, let us get into it. So, JoeWo, he played recently on console. He says he hasn't played there for ages and what's not. Now, what I would like to sort of state here is you can have your own opinion on this, but especially we know JoeWo for dropping 40 bombs, 30 bombs. Like he normally, especially in like 1 or 2 hours, there's always one game with like at least 20 plus kills. He played on console, and remember guys, like although he plays on PC normally, he still plays on controller. It's not like somebody went from keyboard and mouse to controller and is totally like new to the entire thing, all right? And even me, like when I play with my friends, normally I still get 10 to 12 kills. Like it's not such a major difference where I go like, what the f-? And remember, I'm a keyboard and mouse user. So of course it definitely shocked me that I saw him now play on console and he never reached 10 kills. Like he's using the same controller, it's the same game. The only difference really is that he has a little bit probably lower FPS and that he has a lower field of view. All right, the field of view normally on PC is 120. That makes everything look a little bit more faster, and you can see more, of course. But especially him playing on PlayStation versus other people with PlayStation, that means that they also only have this lower field of view. They can also not see more, and they also have the lower frame rates, and he can't even get 10 kills, which for me is very surprising. Again, he does not come from keyboard and mouse. He's still using the same controller, but somehow he is struggling to get 10 kills. He played like 7 games, posted them. Normally he only posts videos where he gets a lot of kills. I know that he always posts his only best games, but in an entire session playing on PlayStation, at least like 6 games, he could never get over 10. Let me know what you guys think. Could there maybe be that it's not just the FPS that are missing? Could it be that the field of view, of course, makes a difference, but I mean, everything practically still works the same? I don't know.
Console recoil is insane. Oh my gosh. On PC, there's no recoil.
Now, this is factually wrong. Like, I've looked into like many different YouTubers that also made videos about PC versus PlayStation or console in general. I've played on console numerous of times, and actually the recoil, I find it a little bit more on PC, especially the aim assist really helps keep the aim a little bit down, especially once you're locked on an enemy. But guys, let me know in the comment sections below what you think. Now look at how he's gonna play this situation right now, all right? He sees this guy, fair play.
No.
Look at his aim, look how he shoots, look how he misses, look at his health, he almost went fully down. Now, if you guys know JoeWo, he never loses 1 versus 1. He just lost. He just lost. And he had his own guns. And he had better guns than him. Look at the FFR that he had.
First game.
All right. First game, of course, warming up.
You know what I'm saying? It's
49
okay.
plays, 6 kills.
But,
all right. Now, of course, his movement is going to look a little bit less fast because of the field of view, but he also plays less aggressive. He does not have such an awareness as on PC. Could just be the field of view, but he's playing again against other players that also have this lower field of view. Now he's in the ghoulie. He normally don't lose the goosh.
Oh, he's so mad right now. No!
That's just not the JoeWo that I know. Now, granted, maybe it could be the TV, his settings. Maybe he's not used to it. But yeah, leaving this behind, let's look at actually some of his actual gameplay. So let us look at this one. This Mac 10 build turns you into the Flash. All right, one of the more recent videos, not most, I think, but one of the most recent videos.
Let's go, baby.
Let's look at this one more time. I'll actually put it in slow motion just so you guys can see what I mean. Do you see how he always has like these little turns? Like he pretends to sort of look on the side. He does not check any of the other corners, right? He just reloaded. You can hear there's nothing. Like you can't hear anything. He just turns, slides. Center chest. He got the headshot, final one, but did you see? It's a little bit too sticky in my opinion. I don't see any recoil, perfectly stuck on the middle of the chest. Now, especially with aim assist, with controller in the short distance that we saw before, right? Let's replay it. Do you see how he approaches? He does not shoot first.
No!
Nothing. And look at his aim. It's all over the place, not sticky at all, right? Now let's get back to this one. Perfect aim. Perfect aim. Now I almost forgot, but even before there was like one moment that was really sus, and that's actually how he entered in the beginning into these hangars. If I even back up, right, like he was shooting at somebody, so he knows somebody is one of these containers, okay? He can even see 2 people right here up in the radar, so he knows there are 2 people. But just how he knows exactly where they are once he enters, especially the second one, you're gonna see what I mean. Joe, it's a bit sus. Sees one up there, downs him. Okay, now the next guy, right? He could be pretty much anywhere. He could be behind these boxes. He could be behind these boxes. He could have run out, okay? He could even be on the left side, all right? Maybe hiding somewhere there. But JoeWo just knows.
Oh no, they're right here.
That he's camping right there. I don't know. That just did not sit well with me. Another thing that I sort of have realized is that every time he aims down sight, and that might be that he, on some games, has it on aim key 2 like when he aims and sometimes when he shoots. But especially here, like you see when he aims down sight, he's like pitch point perfect on the enemy when he's gonna mark him right now. You're gonna see what I'm talking about. Did you see that? It's so quick and so fast. I'm gonna put it in slow motion. Check where his little white ball here of his aim is and where it points and how fast it just sort of snaps onto. Do you see? Like he aimed down sight and is perfectly centered on that enemy. Like how often did that happen to you guys? Like while he leaves the aim, you can see how it still sticks onto that guy. Let's watch it again. Did you see even how he goes out, it still stays perfectly centered on that guy. Now, of course, he pushes with a stun. Now here again, look where the aim is, and it just seems like he has very minimal recoil. Do you see where it sticks? This tells me, by the way, because he also, how he aimed down sight and it did not stick to him, okay? It's what I told you in the beginning. His field of view, probably, his white circle, which I talked in the beginning, most likely is like this big, all right? Because you can see now it sort of is going closer to the enemy. It might be just him moving it, but as you can see, it probably is a very, very small field of view. Here's a very similar clip, same thing. The aim just sort of always goes like center chest. Might just be me finding it weird. Sort of lagged here right now. Let me check that again.
On the train to train.
Now again, I don't want to accuse anybody if it is not the case. I don't want to take any credit away from these people, especially JoeWo. Great personality. His movement out of this world. I think anybody should really tune into his channel for the movement alone, because like the movement is insane and I'm very sure you can learn a thing or two. It's phenomenal. It really is phenomenal. He also gave a tutorial on how to really tactical sprint. So yeah, just check that out. I think those are really great videos. However, in my honest opinion, if this is a life or death question, slight field of view, there is definitely a little bit of aimbot involved. Very sticky aim. And the second one, I do believe he's using a radar, especially when I compared his console sort of game knowledge compared to the PC game knowledge. He had so much more awareness on PC of where people are, where they're on the map. Every second building he entered, normally there was a team. It just seemed so much superior, which normally should not change with a little bit of field of view or because of lower FPS. Now again, cheaters are so evolved from what it was in the past. If people show you a task manager, this would not prove nothing. Cheats are undetected many times by task managers. You can hide them in task managers. You can hide them from every single streaming software, be it OBS. Most will use XSplit because it's cheaper, because for OBS you need the more advanced hacks. But either way, just showing your stream or your cam does not prove anything, especially for like 1 or 2 games. Again, JoeWo, I do not believe you're legit. If you want to prove me wrong and other people, take on live tournaments, I mean, where you're really there, where you get a handed PC, you can only bring your controller and play with professionals like Scump or others. And yeah, if you outperform there, if you get the 20, 30 kills, I'm more than happy to say that I was wrong. That being said, guys, I hope that you enjoyed this video. Let me know if you did. And next week, I think we're going to take on Z-Laner. My name is Gustav. Follow me on YouTube, Twitch, and I'm out.